turn one for the Night's Watch. Bowen Marsh takes the ponies. They did a free maneuver action with their Night's Watch veterans, just going about 5 inches and stopping. They did pull their 2 top cards. They got another for the watch, decided to keep that one. The other one went to the bottom of the discard, and that is how that activation ended. Mother of Dragons activates next. Our buddy here, Illyro, went on the letters. He took 2 tactics cards. He picked up Fire Made Flesh and Fire and Blood. And he'll probably drop, I'm thinking, a weekend token on probably John Watch's unit. So Night's Watch activates next. The Ranger Trackers went ahead, did a maneuver, and a march to put them right on the edge of this corpse pile, picking up the objective token. And they picked up this one, which was controlling. Will roll with its highest attack value. That's how they end. The Targaryens are up next. Daenerys decides to move her pikemen or Celadon pikemen up. Maneuver action straight up there for 5 inches, and she stops right there. So, because Jon Snow's unit activated right there, Ghost was able to activate just right after, moving him right to there, but just a short little maneuver action. He'll end his activation right there. He also attached, and now the watch has ended onto Jon Snow's unit. Targaryens, Jorah activates next. He goes up about, does his free maneuver, and he puts him right to there. He's not going to do anything else. He'll sit right there. So Night's Watch puts Aemon on the crown. Unfortunately, the Targaryens play their tactics card. Targaryens decide to play field control, which means that when an enemy NCU takes a spot on the board, we replace that effect with 1 friendly combat unit becomes weakened, meaning one of theirs, and they may shift 3 inches. So the Night's Watch must choose which one will be weakened. Night's Watch decided to give it to these Sworn Brothers right here next to Jon Snow's unit. So Targaryen decided to activate Viseron, the Yellow Dragon. He was back here, maneuver action, then he did another maneuver action, putting him right there, about a good 5-6 inches away from that objective. So these Sworn Brothers right there did a march action, putting them right about there, looking down the throats of the Targaryen army. So the Green Dragon goes next. So he's back here, did his free maneuver, and then his march action, putting him all the way up to there, facing down those veterans. The veterans will activate next. They're right here now, just checking it. This arc, they actually have just barely a line of sight to him. The Targaryens misjudged just a little tiny bit, and they're going to go ahead and tee it up, and they're going to do a charge action into these guys. So the veterans of the Watch did a great charge with their reroll for the successful charge. They got 7 hits. But Daenerys played her Fire Made from Flesh, which means every block now counts as 2 blocks, basically, so only 1 wound will go through on the dragon, and that's how that one will end. So Drogon sees an opportunity. He's the last one to activate this round. He was over here, maneuver, and they did a march action, putting him right to there, breathing down the neck of these guys. He will claim this token. Didn't say that he can't in the rules, and that's how that will end temporarily. So, state of the board after round 1, positioning on the flank over here. Night's Watch kind of moving this way. Targaryen's holding the center, and the dragons are going to make a really big feast on those veterans over there. We'll see how that one turns out. So the Targaryens activated first. They put him on the free melee attack, and so that was likely the Green Dragon went ahead, loaded up, and he loaded up bigly. He took these guys took 5 wounds on his attack alone. Then the panic test came along, and so wow, not so good for that either, because it was 6, but then they were losing -2 for vicious, and then -1 for that over there. They had no other modifiers to help them. Let's see, the Night's Watch have a Watch Recruiter with them. Nope, not going to help him on that. So that's how it ends. And plus they got weakened because what he gives out after he attacks you. And that was pretty devastating. Wow. So Aemon drops on the ponies. They decide to do a retreat action from the Green Dragon, pulling them back to here. He also does restore a wound. Aemon goes 1 plus 1 destroyed rank. That would be 2 wounds. Then we'll come back on these guys thanks to CMON. He'll restore these 2. And then that's how that one will end. So Targaryens went up next. They activated the Green Dragon again. Maneuver action and charges and puts him in the flank there. And boy, it was absolutely devastating. He rolled it's D3 plus 3. He rolled a 3 at 6 wounds coming off those guys. And then, of course, the panic test. So it would be -1 plus -2 for vicious. They're out of range of this corpse pile, so no more modifiers there. They did pass their panic test, thank God for them, but just barely. And that's how that one will end. Okay, so a lot to unpack here. So the Night's Watch activates next. Now, they really can't help these guys out too much, so Jon Snow does what he does best. He does a charge action. Now, he gave himself for the watch to help his charge distance. He didn't need it. He rolled a 6, so he was able to get there, attached to the flank over there. He rolled his dice, did really well, but they had a weakened token on from earlier, so he expended that, re-rolled the dice. They had, once he did that, they got not a panic, but a vulnerable token on the dragon. Some re-rolls going on there. Both tokens were spent. Anyways, the final result was that the dragon will be taking 4 wounds. And a result of his rally cry ability, I think he's got, Jon Snow, rally cry. He's in long range of these guys. He puts 2 wounds back on them, and that's how his activation will end. So after Jon Snow's unit finished their charge and all their stuff over there, Ghost activated immediately afterwards, did a maneuver, and then he charged into this dragon on the flank here. So he did get some flanking bonuses to his attack. He wound up putting 3 wounds on, or sorry, he had 2 wounds on it. Sundering certainly helped. The dragon, I believe, passed its panic test. We have to do the panic test for the dragon yet. I'm sure he passes it. Oh, yeah, he passes it easy. So that's how that kind of went. And so Ghost has activated. So I forgot to mention that when Jon Snow's unit had attacked that dragon, the Targaryens played sudden retreat, which means they can do a free retreat action. So that's moving him back to there. So for Targaryens, Jorah will activate next, maneuver, and a maneuver puts him right there. He will do his order, which in long range, which is Jon Snow's unit. He will target them and put precision on them to the end of the round, and hopefully these guys can come up there and do some good. The Targaryens also, I forgot to mention, did play swift reposition on this turn, on Jorah's turn, allowing him to get a 2-inch shift, get a little bit closer to what's going on up there. Veterans will activate next. They might as well. They got a free guy back from their Watch Recruiter. They also played this card here, allowing them to get their highest attack dice in the ranks. So they had 7 dice at 3+, rolled it. The Targaryens made them spend their weakened token, resulting in the end here was only just 1 hit going through, which the dragon did block. And that's how it ended. So no panic test, I believe, on him, because I think you have to get a wound on him to get a panic test. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. I'll look it up here in a second. So look at the rulebook real quick. My rulebook's an older one, but I'm pretty sure it's still correct even with the revised one. He will do a panic test because he was attacked. Even though there was no wounds went through, he still does one. He passed it anyways, even with the modifiers. But so we did take care of that. Okay, so a lot happened here. Daenerys activated the pikemen. They did a charge action, but they rolled a 1, which still allowed them to connect, but it was disorderly. Couldn't re-roll their attack dice. But even so, they did play the Fire and Blood, which gives them sundering on this. And that they scored, even without a re-roll, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. The Night's Watch did wind up only blocking 1 of those, and taking 4 wounds on that. They probably should have played the Shields of the Realms of Men on this attack, but they decided to save it maybe for those guys later. So, yeah. And the Night's Watch did pass their panic test, though, just barely. Yeah, well, still good enough, right? So no big secret here. Bowen Marsh takes the money bags. So it takes the purple, not that purple token, that means weakened, yes, off of the veterans, and then he restores 3 wounds to them, and that's how that one ended. Oh, and he also got the pick. He chose the top 2. He decided to keep the Take the Black, and we'll see how that goes. They're saving this one for that unit if they need it later. Targaryens go next. The Yellow Dragon maneuvers and charges from the side successfully. He does get kill off 4 of these guys. They do their panic test. They did pass it. Actually, really well. They got an 11 on their panic test. Now, they couldn't play the Shields of the Realms of Men on this because they're not rolling defensive dice. Because the dragons, when they attack, you don't roll defensive dice. They just do wounds on you. And that's it. So, there we go. So the Ranger Trackers activate next for the Night's Watch. They were back here. They came off that objective token. A maneuver and a march action puts them right to there. I'm going to try to give out Jon Snow some help here. So the Targaryens activated the Black Dragon maneuver action. Disorderly charge. So he couldn't re-roll the charge dice for his attack, but it didn't matter. He still got it, even with disorderly. He connects. He did D3 plus 3 wounds. That's 3. That is 6. Can't play the Shields to the Realms of Men card to try to save these guys because they only roll the defense dice, and you don't roll defense dice when dragons attack. So that's not good. So these guys are effectively dead. And the Black Dragon does surge forth, putting him to right about there, bearing down the veterans. So this is not looking too good right now for the Night's Watch. So last to activate for the round was the Sworn Brothers. They did a maneuver action, a pivot, and then a 5-inch move up this way, just not touching the forest there, and bearing down on these guys over here. And that's how we're going to end this because he's already activated. And yeah, put the activate token there for him. It should be everybody, right? Yeah, everybody's activated for the round, and we go to cleanup phase. So we're heading into round 3 here. Targaryens picked up a corpse pile there for wiping out that infantry unit of Jon Snow. He's somewhere buried in that group there. And we're getting ready to go here. So the Night's Watch will have first activation, which probably will help save them. We'll see how it goes. I almost forgot, and I apologize for this, but they would have played Night's Watch last round, would have played Take the Black when Jon Snow's unit was killed over there. Basically means that these guys were in short range. They restore 4 wounds, and it says here that you can, you may take 1 infantry attachment, and he is an attachment, from the destroyed enemy and attach to this unit, replacing a model as normal, but ignoring the usual attachment limit. So yes, Jon Snow is still alive. He's just now on the veterans now. So Night's Watch, they put Bowen Marsh on the free attack action, deciding best to attack him now. They did. They scored, I think it was 5 hits. She played Fire Made Flesh, which helps protect the dragon. So basically, you only suffer a wound for every 2 unblocked hits. So only 1 wound actually went through on the dragon. Of course, he passes panic test. They almost always do. And that's how that one almost ended. Now, I think Ghost can go, or does it have to be... That wasn't an activation. It says... Nope, Ghost would not go automatically because he has to activate. That is not an activation for Jon Snow. That counts 1. So we're all good there. Targaryen's up next. Activated the Black Dragon. He was back there, if you recall. Maneuver action. Then he charged. He has about 8. He's about 8 away. He has 6. He needed anything but a 2, which he got. He got there, connected. He rolled his dice. He hit. He rolled his D3 plus 3, which was 5. And poor Ghost won't get a chance to roll defensive dice because you don't against dragons. And Ghost is effectively dead. The Ranger Trackers will activate next for Night's Watch. The maneuver action puts them to there. They would have charged, but they really can't charge Jorah because of this sort of blocking their... so they had to stop there, that 1-inch rule. They used their recurved bows for short range, and it was enough to kill him. They got, look, just rolling the attack. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Jorah, was it? Yeah, it was 6. He rolled his defensive dice. It's like 5 here. So Jorah would have blocked 3, but it wouldn't have mattered. He'd still be dead. He only has 3 wounds on him. So they marked him first, and that's why he has that vulnerable token on him. So he's dead. So one minor note, when these guys did move within short range of Daenerys, she did play her Dragon's Flight card, which allows 1 friendly dragon to make a free maneuver action. That was Visceron. He was here maneuvering, put himself over to there, and just want to make a note of that real quick. This can now be discarded. So Targaryens were up, and so they decided to activate the yellow dragon. He did a maneuver action and charged into the flank over here. He did 4 wounds total on him. The panic test, they played this card, Fire Burns Against the Cold. So they passed their panic test, and they'll keep this card attached to them. It just allows them to take 2 wounds and to remove condition tokens. And that's where that ends. So Night's Watch is going to activate a unit here, but it says start of any turn. Staying United Brothers, which allows them to, this group here can pull models off another unit, in this case Jon Snow's unit, pull 4, restore 4, and that's what they're doing right now. That's what this one's going to be. This gets discarded, and then we'll go ahead and activate a unit here. So Jon Snow unit activates next. They got a guy back and started the activation for the Watch Recruiter, which is nice. They attack. They get they have full ranks. So they would have had +1 die when that happened. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1 more die has to be rolled. Sorry about that. So it didn't matter. So basically, they rolled horrible. It only got 2 hits in the dragon. The dragon blocked 1 of them. So 1 wound goes in the dragon after all that was said and done. And that's just, yeah. So Targaryen's up next. They put Mopatis out there on the money bags, but he's not going to use that. He's going to use this instead. They restore 3 wounds, and they become weakened. They took 3 wounds off the dragon, and Jon Snow becomes weakened. So Aemon jumps on the horses, for free maneuver action. So the Ranger trackers actually maneuver. Now they're in the rear of the unsullied pikemen, and Aemon also put 1 extra guy back on Jon Snow's unit, and that's the end of the activation. Targaryens decide to activate the dragon next. He does his thing. He attacks. He wiped out 6 guys off of Jon Snow's unit, just like that. The Night's Watch went ahead and what was it? 5? I think it was 5. Yeah, it was 5 guys that wiped out. Anyways, so during the morale test, and Jon Snow's group barely made it. These guys, the veterans, that's what they rolled. It was -3 for vicious and being the flank there. So they had a 4, and a 4 was their morale. They just made it, rolling a 7. So they won't lose any more guys, thankfully, and that's how that one will end. So the Sworn Brothers over here are going to go ahead, and they, when they activated, they have the Watch Recruiter. He would have gave them 1, but no, it's not. They're going to play this right here. When attached, they may go ahead. Oh no, it can't do this. I'm sorry. They have to get the condition, then they can counter that by suffering 2 wounds to get rid of it. No, they can't remove that right now by doing that. Okay. Okay, so the Sworn Brothers wind up with an attack on the dragon. They roll their dice. They did their order, which gives them they re-roll their attack dice, and then the defender becomes vulnerable. That's where that came from. So they did all that, but they had a weekend token from earlier in the game. The Targaryens made them spend that. The result of that re-roll allowed them only to get 2 hits on the dragon. The dragon rolled and it got 2 4s, which normally is enough, but with Sundering, it wasn't enough. So 2 wounds in the dragon. The dragon will do its panic test. Okay, so that was the roll for the dragon's morale test. Normally it's enough to pass. They pass on a 4+, but the Sworn Brothers had a Watch Recruiter who has an order in sight, which was done, I forgot, during the melee attack, and it added vicious to their keywords. So vicious is -2 for morale, so that would have meant he had to roll higher than that. He didn't, so he will take an additional 3 wounds, and I put those down over there, ending the activation. So Daenerys pikemen should go next. They need an 8 to get here. Now, if they pass through this, they would lose their charge bonus. That means they have a base movement of 5. They got to roll a 3+ to get there. And they are starting out in this, which is -1 to movement. So actually it's a 4+ to get there. It's kind of risky, but if she gets there, she's probably going to kill him. I think she's going to do it. Either go big or go home, right? Okay, so a lot to unpack here. Let's go break it down step by step. So the first thing she did was charge. She needed to roll a 4+ to make it. She did, and she did connect. Now, she went through this stuff, So she lost her charge bonus, which meant she only scored. She got 3 hits. Would have gotten all those, but the veterans have a -1 to hit them, so only 3 go through. They blocked 2 of them, so 1 wound. They lost a guy. They played the Shields of Realms of Men, which allowed them to get a reroll to save 1 more guy. And this card will be attached to the Night's Watch for the rest of the game. And that's where that will end. And they still have a weakened token on them. And this guy is off. And they survived all that. Oh, panic test. Sorry. So they will do a panic test for these guys here. Let's roll it real quick. Oh my god, they freaking failed it. Holy moly. So 3 more guys come off. Wowzers. That's unbelievable. 3 more will come off for the Night's Watch for failing that panic test on that attack. And that is how that goes. So we're approaching the end, the cleanup phase for round 3. So none of these will be scored. Nobody's on the corpse piles. But I really messed up with the Night's Watch. I really should not have done that in the beginning. When these guys activated, I should not have played that card and pulled from here to heal over here, because they have other ways to heal these guys. When Jon Snow attacks, we could have healed 2 over there just automatically by doing that. And I still had Aemon to play. So I basically misplayed that horribly. And the results, as you can see, are pretty bad. So he's hanging on with just one himself back in there. And we're heading to round 4. So Targaryens go ahead and put their NCU over there. Gets a free attack action. Obviously, Green Dragon's going to take care of it. He does. He rolls a D. He rolled for 4. He hits. He gets 4 wounds on him. And so Jon Snow's dead at this point, right? Before he goes, he plays It Shall End Until My Death, and which allows him to get 1 counter strike back. He performs 1 melee attack action, his lowest attack dice value, with +2 attack dice for Jon Snow. And the veterans, like remember, 5, 7 dice. He scores 4 hits. The dragon doesn't block any of them. He puts 4 wounds on it. I ran out of wound tokens. He had to borrow Star Wars Legion one there. And yeah, that's how it ends. So he's to be dead. And he almost killed that thing. So that's that. So Jon Snow has died twice in this game. He's bits of him are over there, and rest of him's over here, and yeah. So now this thing is done. That was a free attack for him. So he's not even finished. He can attack again this round or something. This thing is not looking good for the Night's Watch. And of course, with the surge, puts him right to about there. And before I forget, the Watcher on the Wall was played for the Ranger Trackers back there, which when this unit was attacked up here, they got a free 2-inch maneuver. Yeah, they get to do a pivot and then a 2-inch shift. So that's what that happened there. And Night's Watch will now go do their thing. So here's what just happened now. So the Night's Watch did activate their guys over here to get closer. They did a maneuver action. They were going to fire at the dragon over here with their bows, but because they ended it within short range of Daenerys, she got to play her Dragon's Flight card, allow him a free maneuver. He maneuvers out. Now they don't have a line of sight to him, so they can't shoot him. They are forced to shoot Daenerys. So the Ranger Trackers fire in the rear with a recurved bow into the pikemen here. They rolled 7 dice. They did score 4 misses, but did hit 3. They did not, even though they were vulnerable from being marked, they didn't spend it because they rolled so horribly. They whiffed. 3 came off. That's where that came from. The panic test, they just barely passed it. They have a base morale of 4, and it's going to be -2 for the flank, 3, 4, 5. They still passed just barely. So that's how that one will end. So Targaryens activate the Green Dragon. So maneuver and charge action to flank here. So he did a ridiculous amount of wounds. I forget where it was, but he did 6 wounds on him. D3 plus 3. And then he went ahead and the panic test, they just barely passed it. I mean, it was -1 for here, -1, and then -1. So -3 put them at, they rolled a 6 and a 3. So they rolled a 6. Their base is a 6, I think, for morale for these guys. Yes, it's a 5. So they passed it just barely. They took on 6 wounds though. And I almost forgot that he drops the weekend on him. So our sworn brothers over here activated. They're going to fight the dragon with a melee action. They have 2 orders to give. They did, and they rolled their 7 dice. They with a reroll, they got all hits. The dragon there was sundering, so he had to roll 5s, and he still has that to spend. So he would have blocked 2 of them. But unfortunately, 4 would still go through. There's nothing to spend that. He's going to be dead. So they've killed the dragon. That's dead. So Daenerys' pikemen activate next to the Targaryens, do a complete maneuver, spin, and moved up about 3 inches to get in touching this. They have more ranks than they do, so they'll take the victory point token there and ending their activation. So Bowen Marsh goes on the horses. Daenerys plays field control, which basically cancels out their free maneuver, and they're forced to use this one instead. So means these guys become weakened, and they could do a shift, but there's no point. They're going to sit where they are. So Targaryens activate the Black Dragon Drogon. He maneuvered, then did a charge action. He was kind of far away. He needed to roll a 3 or above to connect with those Ranger trackers. He rolled a 2. He failed the charge, finished there, had to do a panic test, and he rolled Snake Eyes with a 3, putting 3 more wounds on him, and he's almost dead. Wow, that was a very lucky turn for the Night's Watch. Wow, Drogon just totally whiffed on every account on that one. So finally, last activation of round 4, Aemon jumps on the money bags. So whenever he claims a zone, he restores 1 wound plus 1 wound for destroyed ranks. They had a destroyed rank. So 2 wounds went back automatically. Then he got restore 3 wounds, and that's going to be 3 more. And they removed the weaken off them. So now they're almost back to full strength with just 1 wound on the unit. So they might have a chance to pull this out. We'll see. Yeah. Okay, we're going to score this in round 4. So she has control of the token. She has more ranks. At the time, she had more ranks. Now I think they would get it back though, because they have full ranks, but so does she. So I think she still keeps the token. I think we're gonna leave it there, and then these guys have one over here, so it's gonna be 1 point for her, 1 point for them there. And right now it should be 3 points Night Watch, and I think it's 4 points total Targaryen. Okay. So guys, we have to stop this game. I completely misplayed the take the black card earlier in the game, and that completely changed everything. That card, it's against an enemy unit, not if a Night's Watch unit is eliminated, but if Night's Watch eliminates an enemy unit. So Jon Snow never should have been resurrected. Those wounds should never have been restored, or that unit was back here. I mean, granted, they eventually became a corpse pile, that's true, but it bogged down the Targaryens from doing the advantage that they had at that point. So it's clear Targaryens would have won this game at that point, the way that I had it. And I just wanted to make sure I cleared that up before we go any further. So we are going to stop. We're going to call for Targaryens. They won this playthrough. I promise in future battle reports I will definitely pay more attention to some of these cards and how they trigger. And I also may have made one other mistake. I believe I had a double order that had the same trigger, and you can't, according to the rule book, if a unit card has 2 orders it could possibly give with the same kind of trigger, you can't do both orders in the same round. You got to pick one or the other. Or wait later in the round for that trigger to occur again, and then you could do that second order on that same unit again. And I think I misplayed that as well, at least one time in this game. And I think it was benefiting the Night's Watch, actually. So that's it, guys. We're going to call it. Thanks for watching. We'll make those corrections and get better battle reports for you in the future. And happy holidays.